Welcome to those online. Hello. So glad that you have all joined us this evening. My name is Reverend Alvarado. I am the Senior Minister of Center for Spiritual Living, Northern Colorado. Yay. Yeah. So I'm out of breath. Why am I out of breath? I was like dancing. I wasn't really moving so much, but I'm out of breath. So we welcome all lifestyles, all faith traditions, all beliefs to our wonderful spiritual community, and we're so glad that you've joined us today. Our practitioner on platform today is Lonnie Hickman, and she's going to be doing an opening prayer for us in a moment, and joining all of us and holding all of us in that container of love. Let's recite, as we begin our service, our vision and our mission. Our vision: we are a powerful spiritual community, lovingly committed to a world of acceptance, compassion, peace, and joy. And our mission: to gather together to express love, practice radical acceptance and inclusion, and connect. Today is 9/11. And so I just want to take our eyes, just dropping into our heart. Send love, and just take a moment of silence as we honor and as we remember those who were impacted by that day.
place of silence and peace in our hearts. Move together into prayer. And take a breath together. We acknowledge the living, loving, powerful, peaceful, and joyful presence of Spirit right here and right now. Together we breathe into this awareness, knowing that with every breath we take, we allow our minds to open, our hearts to open, and we let our conscious awareness become quiet, become still, become poised and centered in the infinite mind and heart of God. And to truly feel and know that we are one spirit and one community. We are one in this presence of life and love of God or Spirit. And so we breathe into oneness, knowing that together we are a collective force for good. This is a place to be together, to love together, to heal together, to acknowledge the truth of being together as we live and grow individually and as one. And tonight, as we acknowledge that this is a day of loss and sorrow for so many people in our world, we truly embrace the love, the hopefulness, the courage, and the strength of all in our country who have been impacted by the acts of 9/11. And what we know is that God, love, is everywhere present and in all people. And so we give thanks together and collectively and individually for this knowing that peace and growth and order are restored. And tonight we also allow our oneness and community to expand and embrace our spiritual family in the United Kingdom. And we reach out with this energy of love and peace and comforting knowing of truth. They mourn the passing of their beloved Queen Elizabeth II. We rest and we trust in knowing that we are a powerful force for harmony, for love, for healing, and for peace. In this beautiful knowing, I simply give thanks now for this service this evening, knowing all who come here, whether in person or online, are filled with a sense of oneness, our connection, in love and in spirit. I give thanks for the words of today's message, for the order in which all things are orchestrated for the successful flow of this. And I give thanks that as we open our hearts and allow our minds to expand, that each one receives exactly which their heart desires. And so with great peace and assurance, I simply release this prayer. I let go, I let God, and let it be. And so it is.
This is an Amber Garland song.
We are falling like the leaves of autumn, somehow already forgotten the tree from which we came. There's a calling like the river she's aiming, always rearranging to keep us moving along. If you think you're traveling slow, remember it takes all this darkness to grow. A tiny seed holds all there We are falling like the leaves of autumn, somehow already forgotten the tree from which we came. There's a calling, like the river she's aiming, always rearranging to keep us moving along. If you think you're traveling slow, remember it takes all this darkness to grow. A tiny seed holds all there is to know. There's strength in letting go. We are drawing from an infinite unraveling. Oh, there's magic in meandering. Lean in and listen close. There's a longing, you can feel it in your heartbeat. And where the sky meets the open sea, always guiding us home. If you think you're traveling slow, remember it takes all this darkness to grow. A tiny seed holds all there is to know. And there's strength in letting go. There's a calling, like the river she's sailing, always rearranging to keep us moving along.
Musicians are amazing or what? Amazing, amazing. So let's harmonize our hearts and minds, placing our hands on our hearts, taking a deep breath. Let's say together, care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. So today I'm talking about listening to the voice within. You know what I've noticed about artists? They are so tapped into that inner voice, are they not? I'm assuming Julie and Jimmy would agree with this. They're so tapped in because they have to be. If any of you are artists, you know that you can't create something without listening to that voice within, without connecting into that deeper knowing that is within yourself. Doesn't matter whether you are a singer, a songwriter, a choreographer, a dancer, right? You have to be able to tap into that inner voice, that presence that is within you, and to let go of the mind. Now, I'm sure if we asked every artist, there'd be times when they'd say, oh yeah, I'm in my mind. But then at some point they have to let go, and they have to trust that they're going to be guided to write the perfect words, to sing the perfect song, to know exactly the colors that go on the canvas, to know exactly the choreography for that dance. They have to let go, and they have to trust. A few years ago, pre-pandemic, I attended a concert. Peter Cater. Anybody know who Peter Cater is? Very, very talented piano player. He actually lives in Boulder, and he did a concert. He's a Grammy-winning piano player. And he did a concert in Lafayette, just down the road. He does this really cool thing. He invites people from the audience to come and lay underneath his grand piano. He's got pillows there and everything. So I'm like, oh, I am so there. Others were like, I don't know about this, I don't know, but I was totally up there. So can you imagine? I mean, he's playing, you're laying there, receiving the vibration and the frequencies of this incredible music. So I went up to him after the concert and I thanked him and I acknowledged him and I just said, wow, that was just really something. And I asked him, because I was curious, what's your process for tapping into your creativity? How do you tap in? And he said, listening and feeling. Rumi said, there's a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. It does require listening. You know, when we receive an impulse to do something, an action to take in our life, go sit next to this person, come to this spiritual community. We get these impulses, and now whether we choose to act on them or not, that's up to us. But there's always things that are coming in. Yeah? It's just a matter of whether or not we're listening. And it doesn't always show up as a voice. It's not an actual voice. Sometimes it might be for some of us. But most often, it's a knowing. It's an impulse. Oh, I gotta go do this. I gotta read this book. I gotta go talk to this person. So when has there been times in your life when you have heard that voice in some way and you've ignored it? You've pushed it aside. You were scared to actually follow what it was telling you to do, or just caught up in your own life and just okay, I can't hear that right now. I can't listen to that right now. So just think about that for a moment. Sometimes we don't want to listen to what that voice is telling us, what that nudge is trying to get us to do, because our fear is that it's going to blow up our life. And that's scary, isn't it? So we would rather just pretend that it's not there and push it aside. 8 years ago, I was married. And I got this impulse and this knowing to end my marriage. And it was devastating to me because I adored this man. But I also knew that we were having some serious issues. We had gone to therapy, we worked through a lot of things, we resolved some, but not all. And so I was getting this pull to move in another direction. And because it's a big deal to end a relationship, particularly to get a divorce, I sat with it. I contemplated it. And there was one night on New Year's Eve, my husband had gone to bed early and I sat up to greet the new year. I was sitting on the couch, I was watching the ball drop on TV, and just thinking about my life. And thinking about if I made this decision, what would happen in this new year? And can I really go through with this? Can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. And then suddenly I got this impulse to look over to the other side of the room where our bookshelf was. And there was a book there called The Invitation by Orion Mountain Dreamer. And my eyesight went directly to that book. There are all these books, but that was the book that my mind said, go get that book. So I walked over, I grabbed the book off the shelf, and I opened it, and I turned to this passage. Hold on, there it is. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. It was as if somebody had hit me in the stomach and took my breath away. As I read that, it was a clear confirmation of what I needed to do. I knew that if I stayed, that I would be betraying myself. And so I made the decision to leave. I ended the marriage. And you know, as hard as it was, it turned out to be the best decision, as they always do, don't they?
Yes.
Because it opened something up in me that I had shut off for a long time. And it catapulted me on a path that would not have been possible had I stayed with him. That I didn't know at the time. And so we receive this guidance in our life, these impulses, these nudges from Spirit, these little whisperings. And sometimes they're not always joyous. Sometimes it's like, wait, you want me to do what? Are you kidding? No, I can't do that. Now, we have free will, so we're always a choice. We can keep distracting ourselves so we don't hear that voice, so we don't have to pay attention to it. But you know, that voice gets louder, louder, doesn't it? Sometimes we need to be hit over the head with a metaphysical 2x4 to wake up, wake up. Okay, wow, now I'm awake. Now I see Spirit. Now I understand what you're trying to get me to do. I didn't see before. I couldn't see it before. I couldn't look at it. But now I see. Sometimes we experience things like we end up in the hospital because we weren't listening to the guidance that our body was trying to tell us. Now we're awake. Now we're willing to listen. You know, when I received the guidance to leave my husband, the first moment I heard it, or early on when I was hearing it, I was upstairs in our bedroom. He was 3 floors down, or 2 floors down. And I sat on our bed and I just pounded my fist on our bed and just shouted, no, this can't be right, no. But I trusted. There was also a part of me that knew that this inner being that was trying to get me to move on knew what was for my highest and my best good. And so, the divine is always conspiring on our behalf, always conspiring for our highest and our greatest good, always, always. But as humans, we don't trust that. We may know that because we hear it here, or we hear it in a class, or we read it in a book, but in actuality, it's a little harder. Like, okay, Spirit, I hear you, but I can't deal with that right now. So we need to say something like this to ourselves. I trust that my inner being is guiding me to that which is for my highest and best good. I listen with an open heart, and I receive. If we repeated this to ourselves, particularly in those moments when we can feel ourselves wanting to run away from what it is we're hearing, just by repeating this in our meditation time, in our prayer time, we're saying, okay, God, okay, Spirit, okay, Divine Creator, I'm listening. What do you want to tell me? It takes practice. It takes practice to connect. You know, musicians and artists, they've been doing this since they were little. So they've got a lot more practice than we have. But the average person walking around, even those of us on a spiritual path, sometimes we just forget. We're running here and running there, and it's like, oh yeah, let me just get quiet for a second. Spirit, what are you trying to tell me? What are you guiding me toward? And so we have to take time to ask the question. And then trust what we receive. I love what Joel Goldsmith said. Keep your ear always open, as if you were listening for an inner voice. When you live from that standpoint, you will find that you are always on the receiving end of instruction, protection, supply, or grace. So if we are willing to cultivate a relationship with that inner voice, with that inner being, what do you think is possible for your life? Extraordinary things are possible if we're willing to tune in and listen. You know, that voice has been speaking to us since we were this big. And if you have little ones in your life, they're so wide open, they're hearing things. And they'll say, hey, you know what, I just saw this thing over here. And the parents are like, you're just seeing things. Oh, I just heard this thing. Oh, you're just hearing things. No, they're so tapped in. Children are so connected, they haven't shut it off yet. They haven't shut it off. And even if we have as adults, we can get back there. We can get back there and develop a relationship and cultivate a relationship with that inner being again. If we're struggling with something in our life, if we're having some challenge in our life, we just close our eyes for a moment and just say, okay, Spirit, guide me to what I need to do right now. Guide me to how I should best handle this thing right here in my life right now. Show me. Speak to me. Say it. Declare it. Just demand it. Speak to me. Tell me. Show me. And it will. It will. So, you know those moments when we're having a bad day, we're feeling kind of low, and then we're guided to pick up this magazine that's been sitting on our dining room table for the last 3 months, but suddenly we pick it up and we turn right to an article that it says exactly what it is that we need to be reading at that moment. Isn't that amazing how that happens? Or a book that keeps showing up and showing up. You see it on Facebook, you see it in an ad, you see it in a magazine. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to be reading that book. These are all signs. These are all signs from the universe. So if we're willing to pay attention, we will see it. We will receive those messages. So what has the divine creator been trying to tell you? What message has it been trying to deliver to you? What is a message that you have been receiving and you just been pushing aside? So just notice that for yourself. And here's something to be aware of. You know, the divine is never going to tell us, it's never going to be snarky. It's never going to be negative. That's the ego. It's never going to tell us to do something that's going to be harmful to us or to someone else. That is the ego. The divine is going to deliver it to us in the most loving and beautiful way. We've trained ourselves so well to follow the guidance of the mind instead of the guidance of our inner being. We are naturally intuitive beings. Kate Spencer said, intuition is your soul whispering the truth to your heart and hoping that you will hear. We make decisions every day. Some are very easy decisions. Which toothpaste should I buy? Right? What should I make for dinner? And then there's other decisions that are hard. And we're really good about going to someone else outside of ourselves and asking, what should I do? How should I handle this thing? We go to therapists, we go to life coaches, we go to our friends, our family, and I'm not saying any of that is bad, because I've been to therapy in my life and it's been amazing, and life coaches and all of it. But how often do we rely on something outside of ourselves to tell us what we should do in our life? Just tell me, please, just tell me what I should do. I don't want to make this decision on my own. But all of us have this inner sage, this wise and extraordinary being that is within us. Ernest Holmes said, amidst the din and uproar of our lives, the accumulated fear, doubt, and confusion of the ages, there has always been and always will be a still small voice within that seeks to proclaim itself through us. So as we listen, as we practice tuning in, as we set aside the mind and open and become that divine channel for what wants to be spoken, what wants to come through us, there's so much that's available. We just have to let go and receive. Let's pray. Practitioners, please stand in high consciousness. And so, in this moment, we say yes to life. We say yes to that divine essence of spirit that is present right here. It is the ground upon which we stand. It is contained in every chair, and every wall, and every breath. The beauty and grace of spirit moves in and through and around and for each of us as we move through this world. And I am knowing that because that is true, I am knowing that each of us are able to connect to that inner being for guidance, for direction. That every day we are getting better and better at listening to that inner voice. Listening to the guidance that we are receiving. Setting aside fear, setting aside distrust. And saying, okay, Spirit, I am listening. What message do you have for me today as I begin this day? What message do you have for me as I am taking on this big thing in my life? And then we listen. We listen with an open heart and we receive. And so I just know that as we go out into our week, that we are able to do this for ourselves and for our lives. I'm so grateful for the power and the presence of God that I know is supporting each one of us through whatever it is that we are going through, whatever challenge, whatever pain, whatever it may be. I am knowing that that powerful presence of God is right there, standing by our side, holding our hand, whispering in our ear. You can make it. And I am right here. I am right here with you. Just listen. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. And so we give thanks. We give thanks for that presence in our life. We give thanks for our spiritual journey. We give thanks for all that is unfolding. And so with that, we release this. We let it go. And we trust. We trust that the divine is conspiring for our highest and best good, always and in all ways. And so it is.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
So if this community or if this teaching has touched your life as it's touched mine, I just invite you to give of your tithes and your offerings, placing whatever it is that you are giving, whether you give monthly or however you give, just placing that intention on your heart, taking a deep breath, and let's say our offering affirmation together. Spirit's abundance flows through me. Joyfully, I share my good. So it is.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Guru Deva. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts wander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Jai Guru Deva. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love which shines around me like a million suns and calls me on and on across the universe. Jai Guru Deva. Nothing's gonna change change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world.
So I just bless all that has been given today, knowing that it blesses this community in multiple and amazing and extraordinary ways. And so we just trust, we let go, and we allow for God to do God's perfect work through us. And so it is. So I have a couple of announcements. So next week, I'm going to take a day off. Woohoo! Yeah, I haven't had one of those in a while. So Kelly Robbins is going to be speaking, and she's a ministerial student. She's a friend of mine. She's a great speaker. I've heard her speak multiple times, so you don't have to worry. She's actually really good, even though she's not a minister yet. But she has her own business. She's an author, so you'll hear more about her next week. And her title, Who's the Cookie Thief? I thought that was kind of interesting. We'll have to see what that's about. And then my ordination installation. So I think most of you know about this already, but just to remind people, the last Sunday of this month, we will not be here. We will be over there. So we're going to be at the First United Presbyterian Church in Loveland at 4 p.m., not 5, 4. So it's a little different. And the service is different, but I just know that it's going to be inspiring and uplifting, and it's going to be an installation, not just an ordination, so installing me as your senior minister officially. So join us for that. And it will be live streamed. So for those online, if you're not local and you want to tune in, it will be live streamed. So just so you know. We have a new class coming up, and Will Devine. Will, raise your hand there. Will is new to our community, and he's going to be doing this wonderful class called Rewiring Neural Pathways to Help You Thrive. And you can chat with him after service today if you'd like to find out more. It's a love offering. We're going to do it before service on October 2nd. It'll be across the way in the classrooms there, so come check it out. I trust it'll be wonderful. Will is a fantastic human being, so I'm sure it will be a great class. And then I'm going to be teaching Emergence of the True Self. So this is a self-mastery class. Really powerful class. Some of you may have taken this before. It's kind of on the practitioner track, but anybody can really take it. So I wanted to offer it because it's really about recognizing the difference between our personality, our human self, and our divine self. And so we're going to dive into that and do some good work together. In October, starting in October, we're not going to be offering meals anymore. So some of you have been coming here for a while. We used to give meals away for free, and then we started charging, and it's just a lot to coordinate, so we're not going to do that anymore starting October 2nd. So what you're going to be able to do if you choose, I'm sure there'll be plenty to go around, but we're going to do soup, potluck soup. It'll be fall, we'll get to bring in different soups and share, and maybe some yummy bread. So that you'll see a sign up in the newsletter coming on this week, so look for that and join us for some soup. And the room today is blocked off, but we will be in the social hall, and that's where we'll be eating today. The table's in the back of the room, so if you want to join us for a meal today, or you just want to socialize and connect, feel free to join us. And of course, see our newsletter or website for more information, because you'll find lots of great things going on. After service, our practitioners will be standing up here. So if you need a prayer, if there's something heavy on your heart and you need support for that, and you want a 2-minute miracle, as we call them, come join us up here. Our practitioners will be standing, and they'll be happy to pray with you. All right, let's stand for our benediction and our peace song. So if you want to grab a hand, feel comfortable. If you're comfortable doing that, if not, that's okay too. Whatever you're comfortable with. However you want to do that. Yeah, grab a hand across the aisle. So I'm going to say our benediction and just receive these words. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for all beings. And so it is.
1, 2, 3. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, one one's all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Thank you for being here, everybody.